did.
Loc Talk. Loc Talk.
You did.
Welcome to episode 10 of the Loc Talk podcast with Karen and Brian.
Okay, welcome back everybody to another episode of Loc Talk. This is Karen.
Hey, and Brian, and today we have Crissa from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and an incredible loctician. I've been following you on Instagram for a long time, Crissa, and I must say your passion for the community and your work, it's just really inspiring, and so we're super happy to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Karen wanted to explain a little bit of the background behind this whole episode. So Karen?
Yeah, so it was interesting. I have my TikTok. Oh, goody. And one of the videos recently, it got over 100,000 views. And with that comes a lot of hate speech, right? You have the pros and the cons. So the video was of one of my clients and the before and after reveal of his maintenance, Caucasian gentleman. And
which was awesome, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, you know what? He's like 67 years old.
Right on.
And he's a professional runner, and Brian knows him. One of his clients is like best friends with my client. And I just love how the world is so connected.
Yeah.
So this post was about, it obviously it drummed up a lot of conversation. TikTok at least the conversation is really kept to a minimal, but when you have that much exposure on social media, you get the good and the bad. And Crissa said to me, she's like, what was it? It was, you said that it's refresh my memory, because I know that we talked about a couple of different things.
Well, I think it was a couple different things. Like, I think you had posted some of your responses, and I thought some of them were just so cheeky and like lighthearted and not defensive, and I appreciated that. Because I understand where you're coming from, and then also, I mean, I've just recently had a post of mine go viral on the internet, and not in a good way. It became it became an attack on cultural appropriation. The post was not about anybody's race at all, but it became that. And for the past few years, I've been experiencing like comments here and there and things like that online. But that was really intense for me. It was a really wild experience. And it's something that I have been actively talking about with our dreadlock community, at least my followers on Instagram in the last few months. Things are a little different here in the United States, I think. And that's one reason I wanted to talk to you guys too, because although we're in North America, what's happening here in the US is really crazy. And I take it really seriously as far as like how I can contribute as a loctician and somebody who has such a passion for this hairstyle and all of the cultures that have chosen to wear this hair over the years. And I don't think there's many of us white locticians that are really taking the time to talk to our clients, to talk to our prospective clients who are now a lot more than before coming in with questions about appropriation. And I'm still nervous. I'm nervous right now. I was nervous when I reached out to you, and I almost said, like, why the heck did I even say I wanted to have this conversation? But I feel called towards it. I feel like it's my responsibility, just like it's my responsibility to teach my clients how to care for their hair. It's also my responsibility to explain my own personal experiences with all of the lovely clients that I've had to work with over the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. My experiences with what I've seen in person on the street and in our salon, and then also online. and just to give them a little bit of a history of Locs and, you know, not even, I did listen to, I've been watching your guys' podcast, and I watched all the Christmas Dred. In fact, last night I was making wool extensions in my kitchen, and I had my headphones on, and I was listening to the last one you guys just posted about the future of dreadlocks. And I just loved his perspective. So much of it. I loved all of his perspective on it. But like I said, things are a little different in the United States. And yeah, I think it's really important that we have these conversations, because that's how we become more comfortable with having them. And that's how we learn to, and this is what I've been talking about a lot with people, is learn to respect people's deep core beliefs, even if we don't agree with them. And yeah, so that's why I said, like, yeah, I want to talk to you about it. And then like kind of was like,
But it's good, right? It's exactly the reaction that you need to recognize to actually make conscious. You're like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. Wait a minute. Like, I'm supposed to be uncomfortable. Why am I uncomfortable?
mm-hmm.
And you're right. Having the conversation, the more often we have these conversations, the easier it is for your comfortability. Not that it makes, you know, the conversation easier, because it's a conversation that I'm exhausted, so I can't fathom what it feels like to be a POC, right? I can't fathom the sheer exhaustion of having to explain something that has been explained time and again. And Brian, how about yourself? Like, what's your take on all of this? And I agree, like, where Chris is in the US and we're in Canada, you know, there are definitely similarities and some core differences. But Brian, what's your take?
Dred, Chris in Dubai, which is, you know, completely different. But I think you touched on something, Crissa. I think that these kinds of conversations are so important because we have an opportunity to share with the Loc community, but also with the community at large, the reality of teaching each other to respect our differences.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is probably the most crucial thing that is happening now. And in the US, we've seen such incredible divisiveness in the last 5 years, especially. Mm-hmm. And people are, they're exhausted. Everyone's exhausted. And it's interesting. I had a conversation with a client a couple days ago, and she was explaining how her husband was like going down the rabbit hole, with the 24/7 news and all that kind of stuff. And I had a bit of an epiphany. I had this feeling of stepping out of my despair, because I've been really, really worried about the future. And that conversation, it made me feel, okay, I have an opportunity here to be a positive effect to what's happening. And I've heard so many people say over and over again, oh, things are so bad, blah, 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 the election in the US is going to go all awry. And it made me think, oh crap, I could start saying the positive sort of perspective on things and start spinning that and sprinkling that positivity, that love, that kindness, and the openness, just sprinkle it out for other people to sort of, get a little bit on them, and maybe it'll sort of start growing on them. Like, honestly, I think that's what needs to happen.
I agree. I mean, I've even changed what I've been posting about in the last few months, because, like, things are crazy, and we should be using our platforms to express ourselves, and, but I think I weeded out all the people that I needed to weed out in the first couple months. And now at this point, it's not that I'm ignoring what's happening. I'm choosing not to add more of that negativity to my feed, to my stories, to my followers, because I know how much I've taken in and how it has made me feel. And it's just like, listen, at this point, I feel like everybody that's following me like knows where I stand. And it's all good. So like, let's just talk about locks, because I honestly believe that this hairstyle has the capability, whether somebody thinks I'm crazy for saying this, but I think you two will understand it, it genuinely has the ability to unite us together instead of dividing us. I cannot subscribe to anything that is going to divide us anymore, you know? And I don't know, like the clients that I've met throughout the years and the people that I've had an opportunity to work with, and other loc artists of all nationalities from all over the world that I've been connected with, we're one, we're a family. Like I'm sure you see, I call everybody in our community, you guys are my family, you know? And yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like we can really make a difference in just switching that conversation and that narrative into something more positive, you know? And you know, when it comes to talking the conversations about appropriation, you know, I did a lot of research, and most of this, I have to be honest with you, stemmed from a lot of the injustices going on that have been going on in the United States with the police and Black people here. And I just wanted to like really understand, because when everything happened in May, and like we had riots and violence and all this stuff, and it was an uncomfortable situation to post anything positive on the internet at that time. It was like, it was very frowned upon, and it didn't feel good to do. It's like, okay, I need to shut up and listen to what's happening. One of the posts I made was about, you know, how I can't talk about anything else right now besides this, because I work in an industry where the natural hair industry and the whole hair industry together are still segregated. And it was the first time, and I am embarrassed to say this, but I'm going to be very honest. It was the first time I ever really questioned, why is that?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? That's what I'm going to research. And that's where this whole conversation came about with my clients and with my followers, is because what I researched was not, it wasn't the history of locks. Like I loved Chris's like whole like history and the tribes, and like I learned so much from him. In fact, I need to go back and like take notes and stuff.
That's exactly what we said too.
It was really, yeah, it was really, really cool. But you know, and I've heard that that's usually the rebuttal when somebody talks about appropriation. The rebuttal from a non-Black dreadhead is usually, well, the Celts wore them, and you know, the Indians wore them, and this culture wore them, but I didn't take the time to actually look at the United States. And when I did that research, it brought that all the way back to slavery, when the slave owners shaved the hair off of the slaves. Mm-hmm. And then how the natural hair industry was actually born from that here in the United States. And I wish I had a video camera that day, because I was probably looking at my phone like right, with my mouth gaping open. And just, if you would have asked me prior to that, you know, why do locks have the stereotype of like they're smelly and dirty, I probably would have told you because of dirty hippies in like the 60s and the 70s, you know, or because of the political and you know, craziness in Jamaica with the Rastas, and you know, like just very, I don't know, like, and I was just shocked and blown away. And I was like, okay, well, this is a conversation that I think I want to have with some people. And when I started having it, there were very few locticians that joined in that conversation. But the few that did were like, holy crap, like, I didn't know this. And I was like, right. And we're supposed to be the experts, you know? And, you know, it's, there's something to be said about acknowledging where maybe we didn't do enough research, you know, and acknowledging where maybe we fell short. I can say that, you know, through a lot of the reading and things that I did, you know, I was one of the people that would always say that I was colorblind. And I didn't mean that out of disrespect. But after learning everything I learned about the natural hair industry and where it was born from, and the discrimination that Black people have actually experienced in regular hair salons for so many years, including today, I would have people that would call our salon and say, do you do Black hair? And I just always thought that that was such a silly question. And my response to them used to be, oh, we do every color hair. Because to me, that was a silly question. Like I've done every natural, every texture hair since beauty school. I was very lucky in beauty school to be able to have clients of most of our clients that came in were from the community, which was a Black community. I had Black teachers, you know, to me, that was normal. And I didn't know. No. And I didn't know that not for a lot of people that is not the norm. So, and I had already been doing locks for 2 years when I went to school, you know, so it was just like, whoa, like when somebody calls and says, do you do Black hair? It's because they've called or been into other salons that have told them no. Or one of my clients even said she would go to a salons and they would make her straighten her hair before she even got in the door. And I was just like, what? Like, so to me, somebody that I genuinely feel like I have a pretty strong grasp of dreadlocks and you know, this hairstyle and how we care for our hair. And you know, I talk about dreducation all the time, and how I think it's so important that we educate ourselves, we empower our clients to walk out our doors with all this knowledge, so that way they can turn around to the people that they meet. And when somebody says, oh, you don't wash your hair? No, actually I do. Smell it. It smells great. And this is what I use. And this is why.
And I use noggin oil.
Yes. You know, yes. And, you know, this is how, but this conversation too is also how we are going to change. I genuinely believe the entire dynamic, and what Chris wants too is that, you know, and what you guys want to is that this just becomes normal for everyone.
Yes.
For everyone. You know, it's happening. I know, Brian, I know Karen's been doing this for like 20 some years. How long have you been doing hair?
I've been doing hair for 35 years.
Wow. All right. So I'm the baby here. But I can tell you that what I've seen change in just the last 10 years, 11 years since I started, has been significant. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think in the last 5 years especially has been significant, where it is becoming more normalized. We're not there yet, but you know, we're getting there. And I don't know, that's part of my career goal, is to get there. You know, I don't know. Chris wants every person to have locks. And I mean, I can't disagree with him. I think everybody looks way better with dreadlocks. I cannot disagree with him. I don't know if we'll get there, but
at least once in your life, he said.
At least one. Yep. At least one.
Even if it's clip-on set.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah, it's
well, I think we're seeing change because a lot more people are embracing diversity in general. You know, they're really focused on, you know, representation in magazines and in advertising, and I mean, we're starting to see a lot more diversity in general.
For sure.
And I think that is part of what's happening. I think that's definitely part of the change. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's so important that we understand the history and we, you know, truly embrace what's happened and make amends in our souls for what's happened. But at the same time, we really have to focus on the future as well, mm-hmm. and not get bogged down. And I think that's what, you know, most of the negativity is about. It's about just really being stuck in an uncomfortable past. And I think that, you know, the Loc community, Chris said something really cool. He said that we represent something to the greater society, something that is unattainable for a lot of people. You know, we're artistic, we're musical, we're athletic. I mean, these are the people. Huh?
We're peacekeepers.
We're peacekeepers. We represent a lot of different things, and there's, of course, part of the community that the greater community that thinks that we are, you know, crazy, dirty, street people, whatever.
I mean, we're all a little crazy.
Yeah, exactly. We are. That's part of the magnificence, right?
Absolutely.
But I think that there's a lot of change, and we all have to sort of focus on just getting a positive message out there, and helping people heal, and like even the people that are our enemies, you know.
No,
like,
I agree with you, because, you know, a lot of it's also just when you say enemies, like the way I take that is like the people that left the comments on Karen's TikTok, or the hundreds of people that sent me messages, and it was hate, you know, it was straight hate, and it was really, really hard to read, and to take all of that in. But what I tried to do with that was to look past the hatefulness and understand that that comes from a place of hurt,
pain.
and yes, and that comes from someone's core beliefs, you know. And I was accused by quite a few people, because I did shut commenting down on my post, and I was accused by a few people of not hearing the Black people that wanted to talk. And that's not why I shut down the comments. I shut them down because people were fighting with each other. My followers, other people that were coming. Some people came to defend too, which was really, I appreciated that. But I didn't want that negativity. I didn't want people to be fighting with each other. And I did read every comment, and I did read, whether I responded or not, every single message. And I did listen. I responded to those who asked me for my opinion or where I stood. And I think that's where, when we're presented with these uncomfortable conversations, when we're attacked, and I say attacked because it feels like an attack, but it's people expressing themselves in all different ways on a computer.
And it's not about you.
Right.
Exactly.
You know, and it's just like, just listen and try to see through it. Try to see through the hate. Try to understand that where that person grew up, their family, their neighborhood, their schooling, the experiences that they've had, the discrimination they may have faced. They could be an ally for their friends, their loved ones. Just understanding that those experiences give them their core beliefs, and it's not our place to change their mind.
Exactly.
They need to go through whatever experiences they need to go through to decide to make any changes in life. Just like I know in my core what my beliefs are for why I've chosen to wear this hairstyle for the last 16 years, why I've chosen this as a profession, why I go into work every single day without ever saying like, I don't want to go to work today. Never have I ever said that. All my experiences have brought me to that core belief, and there's nothing that anybody can say to me that's going to change that for me. You can threaten to burn down my salon. You can threaten to come in and cut my dreadlocks off. Like, yeah, I mean, these are real things. Like, these are really things that people said. And, you know, it's like, and no matter what I could have possibly said back, there's certain people that it's not going to change their mind.
No, there's nothing you can say.
So I genuinely pray for people. I pray for peace for them, and I just still go through my day with my clients and, you know, the people that I care about and that see me for who I truly am and know me for who I truly am, and just keep doing what I'm doing, because I think we're all genuinely doing good things for our community and, you know, for our clients and for ourselves too. I do believe this hairstyle can unite us all together. I've seen it, you know. It's great.
This has been so beautifully spoken. I can't tell you how excited I am. You know, I stand with you 150%. You know, everything, this whole conversation, I'm like, oh, the audience is going to be loving this.
I hope so. I
oh,
hope
it's
so.
so important.
It is important. It's, you know, and, you know, I had some of my followers like messaging me being like, well, wait, are you saying we should cut our locks off? I'm like, no, I'm just saying, just listen to people when they have something to say, and don't debate them. Don't spit facts at them. If they ask you for your opinion, you know, and I think I do need to touch on this. And I think in one of your episodes, you guys did say, you know, there's a difference between having a conversation like we're having right now, or a conversation in person where we can go back and forth and things like this, versus like what somebody can type on the internet, hit send, and not have to deal with, you know. Honestly, I don't know how it's been for you guys, but I've, knock on wood, I've never been approached in person about appropriation ever in 16 years. Not once. In fact, most people that compliment me on my hair when I'm out and about are people of color.
Yeah.
And they're usually, it's usually like, yeah, girl, like, be yourself, be unique. That's amazing. Like, your hair is awesome. You know, it's, and I want to hug them. Like, I just want to hug them and thank them. You know, during COVID, that's kind of weird, but you know, you know, it's mostly online, and I don't know. I feel like there is a big difference in that, in just, you know, what people feel comfortable saying or accusing people of behind a computer screen, behind a phone, versus the conversations that actually really would transpire in real life. You know, there's a huge difference there.
Oh, yes, there is. Sure. Absolutely. There's no denying that everybody shows up a little differently on the internet than when they do in real life.
For sure.
Well, it's the anonymity, right?
Yeah.
You can get away with murder if no one knows who you really are.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I learned a long time ago to sort of not get dragged down in that, and sort of, yeah, you want to be respectful, like you said, but approach it from a place of wanting to help, and then it just makes it a lot easier. Like, if you're looking for a fight, then you're gonna get a fight. Right?
Absolutely. And that's one reason why I really didn't rebuttal a lot of people when my post went viral, is because I think a lot of people are looking for a fight.
Oh yeah, for
you know, and it's just like, no matter what I say, if somebody is that angry in that moment, and they took the time out of their day to like go from Twitter or Facebook or the news feed and hunt me down and hunt the salon down and send multiple messages, like, it doesn't matter what I say. Like, it's gonna, so, you know, to me, the energy there is wasted. And it's just like, let's think about this. I liked what you said, Karen. Don't take it personally. You know, I did watch a Instagram TV a few months ago, and I don't remember the woman's name, and it had nothing to do with locks, but it was just like, it was about all white people. And basically what she was saying is like, listen, like, when somebody says like all white people, if you're a white person and you know that you don't do that, just don't take it personally. You know, like, it's
I like that.
Yeah. It's I think I have it saved. If I do, I'll send it to you. But you know, it's, if we know that we're coming from a good place, if we know that we've done our research, if we know that we understand why someone may have differing opinions than us, you know, I don't know. I just don't see anything wrong with this. And I think you guys mentioned it, or Chris mentioned it. As long as you're not bald, you can have locks, like all hair locks. You know,
Exactly. I love that.
it absolutely does. Like it's a beautiful thing. And, you know, what I would say to encourage more so dreadlock artists, locticians, whatever you want to call us, um, and hairstylists in general, like to really see change. You know, there's a few things happening right now. There's a bunch of people that are trying in various states to reach out to the cosmetology schools and encourage the cosmetology schools to add texture to their curriculum, like mandatory to their curriculum, because
Good.
yeah,
Very
because
good.
I mean, when I went to school, when I went to school and we got to the lock section, I was so excited. And then we read the page. And then the teacher was like, "Hey, Crissa, do you want to talk to the rest of the class about dreadlocks?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm paying you like
Yes.
$6,000 right now.
You are the exact example I gave on this show.
Yeah.
I said that verbatim. I said, when I went to school, there was a page, and that wasn't a page of locks. That was a page of all textured hair. That was it. And I was like, what is going on? Why are we not learning about all hair types? And then the teacher would ask the one Black student about her hair. And she's like, I'm in school. Like, just because I have this hair doesn't mean I know how to do this hair.
Yeah.
And I put that into perspective with my clients. I say to them, okay, so you have straight hair. So you must know how to cut straight hair then.
Yeah.
You know how to style straight hair.
Logic.
You know,
yeah.
Right? You know how to braid. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's wild. And I have to say, you know, just a personal story of mine. I loved cosmetology school. I really did. And it's because it was the first time I went to school that I was like stoked to actually learn. Like I had a goal. I'd already been doing locks for 2 years. I went specifically to get licensed so I could do them legally. And right before I was about to graduate, all of the teachers except for one pulled me aside and very lovingly said to me, "Crissa, we think you're really great at what you do. We think you're going to be super successful, but we really think you're putting all your eggs in one basket, only focusing on locks." And they encouraged me not to do that. And I thanked them because they really came from a good place. They weren't being, you know, mean or anything. And I told them, I said, I appreciate that, but you have no idea what you're talking about.
And thank God you didn't listen to them.
And they all ate their words, because I've gone back to that school to do demos for them. And I've gone to other schools to do demos. And that's something I would really like to suggest to anybody that's out there teaching right now, that you're teaching other locticians. There's a lot of education going on, which I love. I think it's amazing. I know you've hosted classes, Karen. It's awesome. I've been doing that more recently and I love it. But like, yeah, if you can go in and do a half hour or an hour demo for the cosmetology schools and talk to them about locks, they eat it up. Twice I've been to a couple schools where the teachers have told me, you know, when we told the class that like somebody was going to come in and talk about dreadlocks, people were like, ew, what? Yeah. And then, but then when I did the demo, they were like, what? Like blown away. And to me, I remember being in cosmetology school and like, you learn the basics. Maybe you have a great teacher that's going to teach you something extra. And thankfully I did. You know, I personally had some really awesome teachers that, you know, taught us how to make some wigs and, you know, do different types of stuff. But like, that's where we're going to really see some change, is if we ourselves or the people that are working towards changing the cosmetology curriculum, changing the state boards. I don't know how your licensing works in Canada, but in the United States, every single state has their own cosmetology department and licensing procedures. But like in all of them, the only thing we're tested on is relaxer and a hot comb, which is both to take away someone's natural texture, not work with it, you know? And like, that's insane at this point. It's insane. You know, it's, as we're there to learn hair And I think most stylists do look at hair as it's hair, you know, unless you're bald, you have hair. It just comes in different textures, different patterns, you know, it needs different products, depending on what somebody's trying to achieve, you know, but that's where I think we can really see the change moving forward, and where we will eliminate this whole idea of division. And, you know, and I'm not saying like we're all the white stylists are going to go in and take over the natural hair shops and things like that. There's a need for that. Like everybody's got their specialty, you know. Braiders are blow my mind. Like what's going on with braiding, it's wild, you know. They blow my mind. And you know, even hair cutting, I got to work with a gentleman, Tim, in the last couple of years, whose specialty is curly haircuts, and that is an art form all to itself. You know, so you know, we start in the cosmetology schools, and then like really encourage people, go out and take classes, learn, don't be scared, you know, learn. That's how we grow, and that's how we change the whole dynamic of our industry. I genuinely believe that, you know. It's I don't know. And you know, and then there's also the Crown Act. I don't know if you guys know.
Oh, I'm very familiar with the Crown Act.
So
It's
I've been
signed, sealed, and delivered, 200,000 signatures.
Yeah, and it's working. It's working. Slowly but surely it's working. It passed its first vote, like, because every state's trying to work for it. Well, not every state, but most states are trying to work for it within their own legislation. But it did pass. I'm terrible with politics. I'm sorry. It either passed the Assembly or the Senate, and then now it has to go to the other one, and that would be for the entire country. And so anybody who's watching this, the Crown Act, I really recommend you look them up. I'm pretty sure it's thecrownact.com or thecrownact.org. Go on, please sign their petition. It is to end texture discrimination in our schools and our workplaces, because it is still legal in the United States. In 43 states, it is still legal to discriminate somebody because of their hair, which means, you know, and this is where appropriation in the United States really comes into play. A lot of people will say, you know, we can't wear this hairstyle until Black people can, because I don't think people understand that a lot of the hairstyles that Black people do wear are protective hairstyles, because extremely curly hair is so much work on a regular basis to wear naturally, you know. So that means somebody can be fired or expelled from school because they wear braids or locks or you know, have an afro, and it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous that there's places of businesses and schools that are genuinely going to discriminate somebody or judge them, or deny them employment, or think that they can't contribute to something wonderful to their company or to their school district because of their hair. Like that is just insane to me. So anybody that's watching this, please go sign the petition. It's super important for everybody here in the United States. It's something that should have happened a long time ago. So
too long ago.
Yeah. So there's
it's thecrownact.com, and the acronym, the Crown, right? Crown is create a respectful and open world for natural hair.
Love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So Crissa, can you tell us a little bit about Rebel, your salon?
Yeah.
How long has it been around, and how did that all happen for you?
Rebel Salon, we've been open now for 4.5 years. Rebel started from complete chaos at the salon I originally started at, and I don't really want to talk about that too much because that's a lot of drama, but I can tell you that our salon is made of magic. It was meant to be. We left our old place with absolutely no idea of what we were going to do, and we opened Rebel in 7.5 weeks legally. And all I can tell you is that our salon is made of magic. Like everything, how it manifested itself, and just everything that the people that have come into our doors, our employees, like just everything is just magic, and it has just flowed. And it's my safe haven. when I go into the salon, especially in the last few months since we were allowed to reopen, there's really something to be said about being able to close the door behind me and all that chaos just goes away. It doesn't matter how bad of a day I've had. When I sit or stand and connect with my clients and my co-stylists too, it's just a beautiful, safe space. And I think what I'm most proud of, when you read our reviews, you know, people talk about their hair, but they mostly talk about how they feel in our salon. And I think that is so just beautiful, because that's what our intentions were. You know, when we first opened our doors, we literally sat in the center of it like a bunch of witches with our sage and candles and everything, and really just talked about, how do we want to feel when we walk in? How do we want our clients to feel when they come in? How do we want our clients to feel when they walk out the door? And that has happened consistently. I can tell you that in 10 years, this is an amazing thing to be able to say. In 10 years, I can count on one hand how many clients we did not vibe with. You know, I hear about hairstylists that are like, oh, this client did this and this client did that. And I don't know if you guys saw that, the Robin chick that went viral yesterday with the woman that tried to hit her hairstylist.
Oh no.
I didn't see that.
Oh, there's a crazy, like, yeah, there's not a loctician, just a girl that was coloring her hair. She was like very disgruntled and upset that her assistant could possibly be doing her hair, and it became a racist thing. And this client almost hit her. She got it on camera. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So like, I've never had anything like that ever, like not even close to that. But to be able to say that in 10 years, I can count on one hand how many people I didn't vibe with. I genuinely believe that your vibe does attract your tribe. And,
oh yeah, for sure.
you know,
I love it.
Your
vibe attracts the tribe.
Yeah.
Oh, true. It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel the same way about my salon. It's just been incredible. That safety, the eco aspect of things.
Absolutely.
People really appreciate that. And it's true. They talk about how they feel in the space, and you know, the things that maybe set you apart from other places.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's really just connection. I believe that, you know, I believe it's energy transference. Like we do, you know, and I've talked about this with so many people, but we touch people's crowns. And if you understand your chakras, like, this is what connects us to the universe. This is an honor to be able to touch someone's crown. And there is connection that happens there. And when we genuinely care about the people that are sitting in our chair, and we genuinely care about their hair and their journey, and I think what sets us apart from just regular hair versus locks is that we're talking about something that's going to happen and evolve over many, many years. And I think it's really cool at this point. I can't even imagine with you guys, if you have some long-term clients, like when I have clients that still come back to see me 9 years later, and I was learning on their head and I did some crazy stuff to their hair, and like, they still come see me and they trust me, you know, like that to me, that's something that beauty school could have never taught me, is the connections that I make with the people that come walk into our door and sit down in my chair. And that to me is the most beautiful aspect of what I get to do every day. I just love it. I love the people so much, and I'm so grateful for them. Like, it's yeah. So if you're ever in Philly, please come by. Like, our doors are always open. Wear a mask. But you know,
I have family there.
What's that?
I have family in Philly.
In Philly, please stop by whenever you come.
For sure.
Yeah,
next
please.
time we're there when the borders open up again.
Yeah, or I don't know, is it, or can we not cross the border now? Like, I know nobody really wants Americans anywhere. We're not all crazy. Listen, we're not all crazy. I can't even, I've heard tidbits from other people in other countries, like, what the hell's going on in your country right now? I'm like, don't ask me. I don't know.
We know that you're not all nuts. Like, we love you.
Thanks.
Right?
Yeah, thanks.
And I know there's a lot of nut cases, but there's a lot of nut cases everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you come into
So,
Canada from anywhere outside, whether it's the US or Europe or Asia or anywhere in the world, you have to quarantine 14 days.
Okay.
Um,
Which is smart. Are they being very strict about that? Are they like
oh yeah.
enforcing it? Good.
Yeah, as far as I'm to understand, the problem is they're stricter with the driving over the border because they can turn and send people away.
For sure.
Because when people are arriving into Canada and hitting Canadian customs on our land, it costs money to send them back. So they would have to send them back for a pretty darn good reason. And otherwise they're just having them sign, oh, I declare I'm going to quarantine somewhere for 14 days.
Right.
So that's not really checking.
Right.
I
Exactly.
know that they call people all the time.
Yeah. So
That used to
from
be
their
quarantined.
cell phone, not from the home phone, because who has
Yeah.
a landline anymore?
Right.
Yeah, I know, but I'm sure they catch some percentage of people.
I
that are-
suppose, yeah, now with the location of the phone, it's
Yeah.
true. You're
Yeah, I know. Like my co-stylist and I, we took a 3-week road trip across the country during the pandemic because we just needed to leave the East Coast because things were just crazy here. Like it was like, I was like, I need to be out in the Southwest where there's no people and just nature. And we rented a van and just drove away from the East Coast. And I know a couple weeks prior, I had been thinking about doing that. And I looked in some places where like, I'm pretty sure it was Utah, where like they had some sort of system in place that as soon as you cross the border, a message was sent to your phone and you needed to respond to it and they could track you.
Yeah.
I was
yeah,
like,
I know.
whoa, like that's crazy. I'm like, all right, we can't do that. But then they lifted restrictions. They started lifting restrictions at that time. And that was one of them. So we were just like, we're going. But yeah, it's wild here. It's a
Crazy
wild world.
times. Well, where my cousin lives in Philadelphia, he sent a Facebook video a little while ago when the demonstrations were really bad, and they're literally right outside his door. Like all these people just, it was nuts.
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been interesting talking to clients too. I don't know if you guys have experienced this because like, we were closed for 105 days in Philadelphia, over 3 months.
Yeah.
And it was hard in so many ways. And having people coming back and then like, you don't really have the same type of conversations anymore. Like people aren't going to concerts and they're not traveling and, they're not hanging with friends as much, or they're not having weddings, and like the conversations have shifted in so many different ways. But I will say that like the beauty of what has happened, at least what I've noticed for ourselves and with our clients, is that people have really gotten very creative, and have shifted focus, whether that be in their career or in their lives, or different activities that they're starting to try to do. And I think that's where we should really be focusing our energy on. So I will say, like, as crazy as it's been, there has been some beauty that has come from it.
Oh,
And
for sure.
really, really good things that have come from it.
Oh,
I mean, I want to travel. Like I want to get on a plane and go, but that can wait.
We can wait. We can all wait.
Yeah.
Better to be safe.
Yeah.
On that note, Crissa, we're going to have to wrap it up. It's been so wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you for your wonderful work and your heartfelt love of Locs and trying to get the community forward. So
Thanks. Same
can't
goes
wait
to you
meet
guys,
you
to both of you. Karen, I've admired you for so long. Like you're one of my dreadlock idols. Like for real. So thank you.
do.
Yeah.
No. No, we're all queens.
We are, and I understand that because some people will say that to me too, and I understand that. But it's the first time like you and I get to talk face to face, so I can't not be a little bit of a fangirl and be like, thanks for all the inspiration you've given me over the years. Like I really appreciate it, and thanks for noggin oil, guys. Like our clients love it. They really do. Yeah.
Thank you.
This especially like for after maintenances. That is like magic.
Oh,
It's like magic. You're like, give me that roller ball, I gotta tell you, I tell all my clients, I'm like, it's kind of like a head orgasm. It is.
Can we use that?
Yeah, absolutely. It really, truly, but it is. It's just like the first time, because I tried it first, and when Morgan put it on my scalp, you know, it takes a few minutes for it to like really start to kick in, and I was like, this isn't working. And then all of a sudden, I was like, oh, okay. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh, okay. Like, and like an hour later, like I'm still just like, this is amazing. Hell yeah.
Yes, always. One in the purse, one in the pocket, one at, you know, like one at the bedside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in the summer. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. So thank you. But enjoy your Thanksgiving, guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been wonderful.
Definitely do this again. I would love to have you back. This has been a really, you know, as all of our conversations with our guests have been, extremely comfortable and very genuine. And I think that's what our listeners and audience really appreciate. So thank you.
I appreciate it. I'll talk dreadlocks any day. I'm a big old geek about them.
Okay. Peace out.
Take care.
Bye. See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Loc Talk. Loc Talk.
Excellent.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Loc Talk with Karen and Brian.